Hello, I'm Saurabh Sandhir, General Manager at Nuage Networks of Nokia. Over the next 20 minutes or so, I'd like to talk about the evolution of wide area networking and the business deliverables that both SD-WAN and SASE must deliver to enterprises. The title of this presentation is SD-WAN and SASE, Friend or Foe, and I want to spend our time together looking at the benefits of both technologies and providing my insights into where they sit in the new generation of wide area networks and on the key question of whether they compete or complement each other. Gartner understood the question between SD-WAN and SASE when they developed the SASE framework. To quote Gartner, SASE combines comprehensive WAN capabilities. These are things such as routing or path selection, WAN optimization, with comprehensive security functions such as secure web gateways, cloud access security brokers, firewalls, ZTNA, to support a dynamic secure access needs of a digital enterprises. And this is done in a framework. Gartner understood and they told the market that SASE is a framework that will take between 5 and 10 years to mature. They also identified that the two main parts of the framework, connect it and secure it, need to work hand in hand in order to deliver the business needs of the enterprise. And this is where we come to the theme of the presentation. And my opinion that SD-WAN and SASE are complementary technologies that deliver networking and security solutions that Gartner originally envisioned. SD-WAN does not preclude SASE, and SASE does not preclude SD-WAN. There is a need for an on-prem network selection and policy engine that SASE requires. It's actually a requirement for a best-in-breed SASE offer. SD-WAN plays a key role in SASE architecture by acting as an aggregation point for branch and campus environments. SD-WAN provides connectivity with on-prem policy and insight. It includes elements such as dynamic path selection, routing, branch networking, SLA management, and whatnot. The distributed cloud security function, on the other hand, includes secure web gateways, CASB, firewall as a service, remote browser isolation, and these go hand in hand. Here we see SASE right at the peak of inflated expectations and why it is gaining so much airtime as vendors jostle for mindshare while the technology sits at top of this peak. It is also interesting to see that SD-WAN and the fundamental connection part or connected part of the framework is approaching mainstream adoption as it moves through the slope of enlightenment. The market focus is off networking firmly with SASE, as many security vendors claim that they are a SASE vendor and it's one size fits all and it is a silver bullet for all enterprise IT needs. With SASE at the peak of the wanted Gartner hype cycle, the choices the enterprises, that is the buyers, make today will determine if they avoid the trough of disappointment or jump headfirst into it. What this requires is for us to separate the wheat from the chaff, the pragmatic from the pedantic. The part of the exercise is to look at SASE as a framework rather than as a product, and thus to customize it based on your specific requirements. In the meantime, there's a long way to go between the peak of inflated expectations and plateau of productivity. And this means that for you, as the service provider, as the cloud service provider or a telco provider, there's a multi-year opportunity to deliver services to your enterprise customers and to grow your market. And this means catering to internet-only enterprises and internet-only locations while not ignoring the long tail of MPLS and VPLS service locations which still continue to hold sway. That means taking advantage of becoming a best-in-breed consolidated SD-WAN and cloud-based security services provider. By 2024, only 30% of enterprises would have adopted a single vendor secure edge solution, meaning that the 70% of the market are still open to providers who are offering best-of-breed managed security functions. On the last point, it is instructive to note that Gartner recommends that enterprises buy their network connectivity and cloud-based security services from a single provider. Note the word provider, not a vendor. So this means in the next 5 years or so, there's a huge market opportunities for CSPs to build an open, flexible, managed service that links SD-WAN with security services both on-prem and in the cloud, and to seamlessly connect this service to public cloud providers and cloud-based security functions. It allows for the selection of best-in-breed network and security vendors, avoiding lock-in and without compromising a unified service experience, which is essential and which can only be provided by a managed service provider. Now, at the same time, not all enterprise branches are created equal. They vary from kiosks to mobile users to location fluid transportation hubs to large campuses and factories across a range of urban, rural, and remote geographies. There is no one size fits all for network or security architecture. Neither are all apps the same. A YouTube accessed via guest Wi-Fi needs a different security controls than an inventory application accessed by an employee. A flexible framework accommodates all of these variants and gives the power of choice back to the enterprise IT owner rather than enforcing a rigid architectural framework. The flexibility of policy enforcement applies to data localization needs and to in-country compliance policies as well. Organizationally, this approach allows for joining of forces between network and security teams while preserving their core competence. Finally, with the impending expansion of 5G and enterprise edge functions, which are everywhere, which include things such as IoT, the CSP platform approach allows for a seamless on-prem extension to use cases while preserving the fidelity of SASE and cloud security. As we move from hype levels to mass adoption, we move to a managed services consumption model. There will be very few enterprises rolling out do-it-yourself SD-WAN or SASE networks. Instead, the trusted cloud consumption model will apply with network as a service. While security is definitely a fundamental and crucial cloud-based service for enterprise, it is not the only service that can be delivered from the edge. The SASE-enabled edge has multiple service variants beyond security within it. These include cloud on-ramps, backbone service, residential or work from home, and mobile user network policy and policing. Only when you treat SASE as a framework is it possible to have these services as well as future 5G edge services or from video to IoT possible within the same structure. The fundamental idea is that the enterprise can move seamlessly to their digital transformation destinations in a single cloud with a single framework. And in this context, it's the operational experience and in-house integration that complements the service from managed CSP that will drive the most value for the customers. But to deliver it, you have to choose wisely in the selection of service foundations or of underlying SASE and associated components. So if today's WAN needs a strong, connected, and a security foundation, why are we even talking about SD-WAN and SASE competing? Well, as with any new idea, there is always a level of marketing hype. And with SASE, as we see daily, it is being pitched far and wide as a fix for all of today's enterprise IT networking troubles. From a networking perspective, it is an inflection point for security vendors who have always been on the periphery to jump into the middle of the enterprise WAN conversation. And this has amplified the marketing noise around SASE. It's also led the industry to a point where marketing hype is clouding the benefits of SD-WAN and SASE working together. We see this from security-focused vendors who promote SASE as a solution to all possible ailments. There's a great quote that's attributed to Abraham Maslow. It's known as the law of the instrument. And that says, if you only have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And we see this with SASE now. It is being pitched as a solution to everything. Well, for nails, a hammer is perfect, but it doesn't work so well on screws and bolts. And we believe that the best outcome for an enterprise is to choose the right instrument for the job that needs to be done. And it is provided, or it can be provided by combining SD-WAN and SASE together in a single framework. It is critical that the service providers that are delivering this managed service to their enterprises set the right foundation so that they can meet individual needs of each customer. With the move to application-aware wide area networks and the increasing reliance on cloud for IT, it is imperative that you take a holistic view of the requirements of the service. We have spoken about networking and security during the course of this presentation. But let's look at beyond networking and security, the other two components that are absolutely required to deliver the right managed solutions or service that is centered around SASE for your customers. The first aspect here is management, and that is the ability to implement consistent policies that incorporate the network and security functions from above, all via a single pane of glass. Fine-grained APIs, clear separation of management, control, and data planes, open protocols are essential in this context. Underpinning the strategy or the technology is the selection of the vendor, or in other words, the vendor strategy itself. And it is instructive that as a cloud service provider, as a telco, that you take due due diligence into consideration before you undertake this vendor strategy rather than going headfirst with the hype. It is imperative that the technology vendor has a strong history in networking and, more importantly, has a track record in multi-tenant and scalable networking. The need to offer the fundamental network and security functions within their solution, but also the vendor needs to be open to third-party functions, be those as service-chained VNS or cloud-based security vendors. To meet the market, the solution needs to be open, needs to be able to connect to any security suite, even if it is a security suite that is a direct competitor to their vendor. And that is a key element for you to consider as you define your vendor strategy. To summarize, SD-WAN and SASE are definitely friends. They don't compete, and as Gartner identified from the beginning, connected and security functions are intertwined. Together, they deliver the core foundations for the cloud-enabled enterprise WAN. SASE is the peak of its hype, but the architectural imperatives and the business case for SASE are grounded in reality. To avoid barring into the jargon and focus on implementable parts of the concept in a form that is suitable to your business, it is best to approach SASE as a framework. And from that point of view, SD-WAN is the network foundation for SASE. The best architecture for SASE is the one that matches the best-in-breed SD-WAN with the best-in-breed cloud security engine, thereby offering flexibility, choice, and cost effectiveness. As a CSP, it is critical that your managed SD-WAN and SASE service is open and able to accommodate a number of vendor solutions. This openness will be key. There are so many security functions that make up SASE capability, and there's no one size of vendor that can fit all. Finally, it is very important to look at SASE as a framework that's more than security. The infrastructure for SASE is the foundation for a range of edge cloud delivered network functions. So stay open, embrace multiple vendors, and select options for each key function. With that, you will be able to attract a wider set of enterprise customers who have their own preferences for security functions. With that, you'll be able to investigate your market and build your solutions as customer needs. As they say in the stock market, focus on long-term fundamentals and don't buy into short-term hype. With that, I want to thank you for your time. Hope you enjoy the rest of the event. One more thing, with our global travel rules, we are unable to bring the Nokia Nuage team together with a physical booth for this event, but there are local Nokia and Nuage staff in attendance, and of course, the team is available via our virtual booth. With that, have a good day. Enjoy the rest of the conference. Bye.